All right, today we are diving into a biological secret that is, well, it's almost too wild to be true.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a question for you. Which animal has the longest penis compared to its body size? Now, I know what you're probably thinking. It's got to be a whale, right? Or maybe an elephant. One of the huge animals? Well, you might be in for a surprise. Yeah, it's not any of the animals you'd expect. The real answer belongs to a creature that's so common, we pretty much just walk right past it without a second thought. But trust me, its biology is absolutely one for the record books. We're talking about an animal whose reproductive organ can be up to 8 times its body length. Let that sink in. To give you some perspective, if a 6 foot tall person had those proportions, we'd be talking about something 48 feet long. So, who is this absolute champion of the animal kingdom? The owner of this, frankly, mind boggling appendage is the humble barnacle. Yep, those little cone-shaped things you see stuck all over piers, rocks, and the bottoms of boats? That's our guy.
Okay, so first things first, let's clear something up. A lot of people see that hard shell and think, oh, it's a mollusk, like a clam or an oyster. But that's not right. They're actually crustaceans, so they're cousins with crabs, lobsters, and shrimp. And that little family connection, it's the key to understanding everything about their very strange life.
So, to really get why a barnacle would need an adaptation this extreme, you have to understand the equally extreme problem it's trying to solve. And it all goes back to a single decision it makes really early on. See, when a barnacle is just a little larva, it's free swimming, exploring the ocean, but then comes the biggest decision of its entire life: where to settle down. Because once it picks a spot, it literally glues its own head to that surface, builds a hard protective shell around itself, and that's it. Game over. It is never, ever moving from that spot again. And right there, you have a huge biological puzzle. You're stuck in one place for your entire adult life, but you still have to reproduce. I mean, you can't exactly go out and meet someone when you're permanently glued to a rock, right? So, how on earth do they solve this? Well, evolution's answer is it's just brilliant. It's both incredibly simple and at the same time anatomically wild. It really is a masterclass in how an animal's body can change to fit its needs. So the solution isn't just one single thing. It's actually a combination of three incredible features that all work together to solve this whole being stuck problem. Let's break them down one by one. First up, and this is the most obvious one, is just sheer length. By having a reproductive organ that can stretch out to 8 times its own body length, a barnacle can literally reach across the gap to its neighbors and mate. It's a super direct, kind of brilliant solution to the distance problem. But just being long isn't going to cut it. The ocean is a chaotic place with waves and currents. And that brings us to feature number 2, extreme flexibility. Here's the cool part. Unlike in mammals, it's not controlled by blood flow. It's all muscle. That means it can move and bend and search around almost like a tentacle, actively navigating through the water to find a partner. And finally, this thing isn't just long and flexible, it's also smart. The entire surface is covered in chemical and tactile sensors. Think of it like a built-in guidance system. It helps the barnacle feel its way around to find a neighbor. And, this is really important, make sure it's the right species before committing. Okay, so to recap, we have this incredibly long, super flexible, and smart sensory organ. That alone is pretty amazing, right? But believe it or not, the story gets even crazier. It turns out the barnacle isn't just stuck with one design. It can literally change its own body to match the world around it. What you're seeing here is a fascinating trade-off. Scientists discovered that barnacles living in areas with rough, powerful waves will actually grow a shorter, thicker, more durable organ to withstand all that force. But if a barnacle lives in calm, gentle waters, it grows a much longer, thinner version to get the maximum possible reach. It physically changes its body plan based on its home address. How cool is that? This amazing ability to change its physical form based on its environment, well, it has a scientific name. It's called phenotypic plasticity, and it is a super rare and pretty advanced evolutionary trick. The barnacle is like the poster child for this concept. A creature this bizarre and this perfectly adapted, it's no surprise that it caught the eye of maybe the most famous biologists in all of history. Yeah, Charles Darwin. After he published his groundbreaking book on the origin of species, what did he do? He spent
8 solid years, doing nothing but studying barnacles. And you have to ask, why? Well, because he saw that in their crazy diversity and their super specialized ways of reproducing, they were like a perfect little model of evolution in action. For him, they were a key to understanding how life adapts in the most specific and sometimes the most fantastic ways. So let's just quickly recap the big points here. We've got the barnacle, which is a crustacean, not a mollusk. It solves the problem of being glued down for life with a reproductive organ that's up to 8 times its body length. But it's not just long, it's also flexible and has senses to find a mate. And maybe the most amazing part, it can actually change its own shape to better fit the ocean environment it lives in. It's a true evolutionary marvel hiding right in front of us. It really makes you think, doesn't it? If a simple barnacle is hiding secrets this complex and this surprising, what other incredible stories are waiting to be discovered in the everyday creatures we barely even notice?